Well, welcome to Worry Free Wednesday. Greg Surratt with you today. And we're in a short 6-week series where we're talking about the fact that we're called to more. I think this is so apropos to where we're living right now. We got to be different. We got to look different. If we're going to make a difference, we've got to be different. And let's look at the scripture that talks about our calling. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 2 says, "Be completely humble." We talked about that one week. And gentle. We talked about gentleness. Be patient. That was last week. And today, bearing with one another in love. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about love. Not the Hallmark kind, all right, but the real kind. It's the kind that sticks around even when it's inconvenient. It's the kind that keeps showing up for people who sometimes drive you crazy. In testimonies on that. Paul says we should bear with one another in love. That phrase sounds nice until you realize bear with literally means to put up with. Paul says we're to put up with one another in love. He's saying that loving means putting up with people who maybe it's not easy to put up with. Love isn't about who deserves it, it's about who needs it. The love Paul talks about here is the Greek word agape, and it means a selfless love, a steady love, and an unconditional love. It's the kind of love that God has toward us. It's not the kind of love that quits when things get uncomfortable. Jesus modeled that. He loved his disciples, including the one who betrayed him. He loved the people who doubted him. He loved the people who questioned him, and even the ones that nailed him to a cross. That's not sentimental love. That's called courageous love. I once heard someone say that love is like duct tape. It may not fix everything, but it sure holds things together. It's true, isn't it? Sometimes love looks less like a hug and more like just holding on. So how do we live that out? Starts by remembering that love is not a reaction. Love is a choice. You can choose to stay kind when others are rude. You can choose to forgive even when they don't apologize. You can choose to pray for someone instead of gossiping about them. See, here's what's amazing. Love that doesn't quit changes you. It softens your heart. It stretches your patience, and it anchors your peace. And that's what it's all about. And here's the reason, because you stop depending on people to act right before you act like Jesus. So this week, when you're tempted to give up on someone, I want you to remember how often God has refused to give up on you. Love doesn't mean ignoring problems, but it means refusing to let the problems win. Keep loving, keep showing up, keep bearing with one another, keep putting up with one another in love. That's how you reflect God's heart in a divided world. And that's the way we live worry-free even when love feels hard. So let's crush Worry-Free Wednesday together. Are you in? Well, if you enjoy these short, encouraging videos, why don't you like them, comment on them. I read all of those. Share and subscribe. And until next time, you worry less, live more. And let's not just have a good day. Let's make it a great worry-free Wednesday.